Hello, my name is Pastor Joe Cowell, and this is today's video devotional. In the Old Testament, we hear the story about King Nebuchadnezzar, and he built this great image, and he commanded all the people of the land to bow down and worship that image. But there were three Hebrew children named Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego that chose not to bow down to the king's image. You see, the king Nebuchadnezzar, he was actually fond of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were important in his government. They were leaders within his government, but he had given a decree that whoever didn't bow down to this image would be thrown into the fire or killed. So Nebuchadnezzar gave them another chance, another opportunity to bow down to this image. And their response was this: "We will not bow down to your image, O great King." And God is able to save us, and He will save us. But if not, we will still not bow to that image. And King Nebuchadnezzar was enraged, and he took them and told the guards to throw them into the fire. Before that happened, he had the fire made even hotter than it was before. So it was so hot that when the men threw Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego into the fire bound, that the men who threw them in were consumed by the flames. And Nebuchadnezzar sat down and was contemplating, and all of a sudden he looked up and he looked into the fire, and he asked the question, "Did we not throw three men into the fire?" And he called all the mathematicians, all the smart people of the land into his presence, and they counted. "Did we not throw three men into the fire? But behold, I see a fourth, and the form of him is as the Son of God." What a great testimony of God's presence and God's power within our lives at the time that we need Him most. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were faithful to God. And when we are faithful to God, God is always there with us. And He's there at the time and point that we need Him. When we need God's help, He is there. Notice that Jesus really didn't show off or seem to be showing up until Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego needed Him the most. And I would say that I believe that they needed Him at that time. But they astounded the magicians and the mathematicians of the land, because even though they threw three into the fire, we see that Jesus Christ was with them in the fire, protecting them. Protecting them so much that when they took them out of the fire, not a hair on their head was singed, not a cloth on their clothes was burned. Why? Because God's protection is all around His faithful servants. Be a faithful servant of Jesus Christ today. Don't be dismayed by any situation that you find yourself in. But if you are obedient to God and you are His chosen servant, you can know that God's presence is with you, even in the midst of the fire. God is faithful and just in all of these areas, and He'll be there for us, just like He was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Don't feel alone, because there's a fourth man walking in the fire with you today. Be blessed. Glorify God with me today in all that we do. Have a great day.